Damien G here on the Culture Collective, powered by Big Gold Belt Media. And I just got done watching season 1 of Robin Hood on MGM Plus. And let me tell you, hours are flying, betrayals are cooking, and apparently nobody in Nottingham washes their conscience because there's a whole lot of stuff going on. So let me set the tone for you. Right off rip, off the first 5 minutes of the show, I felt like I was watching a CW version of Robin Hood, or if you're in my age bracket, WB version of Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, all those shows way back when. And I felt like I was watching a medieval times version of it with the amount of snide comments, betrayals, and just overall Game of Thrones behavior that I saw throughout this entire show. And I wish it would have gotten better, but unfortunately it didn't. It stayed consistent in that realm, and that's not bad. It's not bad that it stayed consistent in that realm, but man, so much dramatic stare downs, so much posturing, so much where every 5 minutes somebody's either switching sides, plotting, trying to do some sort of revenge, or giving that I might betray you, but I might be your BFF after this is all over mentality. It's one of those things where smile in my face, stab me in the back. And that's what I got a lot from this show, going off of episode 1, season 1. Well, let me give you credit where credit is due. The setting and the landscapes are the best, and I mean the best part of this show. I kid you not. It was picturesque. It was vibrant. It put me in a place where I didn't think I'd go, where this isn't your granddad's Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest or the entire land in and of itself. It was great. It was good to look at. It was just pretty, right? Just super pretty. And that's not even talking about the actors. The actors, for whatever reason, were just egregiously gorgeous for the time period, which leads me to believe this isn't how everybody looked back then. But at the same token, it made for stunning visuals. I found myself rooting for absolutely no one on the show. As the show stands, I didn't find myself rooting for anybody. Robin, Marian, the Sheriff of Nottingham, good job by you, Sean Bean. But yet there was no true, there might have been villains on paper or heroes on paper, but when you really think about it, the legacy of Robin Hood is he's a thief and a bandit. And you get to see a bit of an origin story, or at least this version's of an origin story. His childhood, how his father and mother raised him, and quite differently, with his father being a forester in the world of Nottingham. And we're taken through basically his coming of age story, which is fine. We all like a good coming of age story. But I don't know if we needed a Robin Hood prequel. I think that's the easiest way for me to say it, a Robin Hood prequel. But going back really quick, Sean Bean as the Sheriff of Nottingham, my friend, you made yourself so detestable that I couldn't help but pause it. I couldn't help but pause it and say, I really hate this guy. There was a whole bunch of people that I just couldn't stand, and that's a testament to the acting. So Sean Bean's character of the Sheriff of Nottingham is elite. That's what I'll call it. He's a menace. He's brooding. He's conniving. All the negative words you want to throw out there, all that to say that Sean Bean's character of the Sheriff of Nottingham was not what I thought I would see. I thought I would see a more cowardly take on it, and I saw a more exhausted, weathered, tired take. A man that's kind of tired of being in the war, as it were. And I got to admit, as much as I didn't like the character, I got to say, he was, as I stated, a menace in all the best ways possible. A very petty sheriff. Now, let's get to Stephen Waddington as the Earl of Huntington, Marian's dad. The word douche comes to mind. The word a-hole, the word jerk doesn't really do this character justice. He got on my last nerve, and I mean that in all the best ways possible. A jerk by any other name is still a jerk, because that man was irritating on purpose. Just every once in a while, he said something, did something, hit somebody, talked down to someone that make me just want to jump through my screen and pound him into the dirt, because he was that much of a jerk. And lest I forget, Lydia Peckham as the sheriff's daughter, Priscilla. From the first 3 minutes that she's on screen in season 1, episode 1, one of the first lines said about her is trouble. She's troubled. I disliked her in every sense of the word from scene number 1. She committed to being so unlikable that I didn't want her to have a happy ending throughout the entire show. So suffice it to say, she had her own little journey throughout this show in season 1. She did a great job, me hating her. So I've given you characters. I've given you the picturesque scenery. So let's talk about the season itself, right? First 5 minutes of the episode, there was a whole lot of violence. There was a whole lot of nakedness. So let's start there. There were forested entities, I'll say, legends of a warrior turning into a deer of some sort. And how do I say this? Folklore. A lot of folklore, a lot of mysticism, a lot of classism. Whole lot of classism going on in Robin Hood. And I'm not just talking about Robin and the Merry Men, who were awesome in their roles as well, but it all blended pretty okay. It was messy. I feel as if the show was messy with the pacing. So if you want to call it all this was blended in a messy 7-episode stew, we'll call it that. But it was not digestible at first for me, because every time, and I've watched a few shows like this, every time I thought they were going to hit a crescendo, hit that bang, I was left wanting a little bit more. Now, granted, the show wants to be grounded and gritty, even throughout all this mysticism and religion and manifest destiny, but also it wants you to whisper the words magic in your ear every now and then, like the Forest whispers to Robin occasionally throughout season 1 and through other people. Forest apparently has a mind of its own, like the living forest in Mortal Kombat. But alas, this is Nottingham. And fine. I think that's the easiest way for me to say this about the show. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. The Merry Men were the way we meet Friar Tuck, Little John, and the rest of the cavalcade of characters. It's as if you're trying to put the Avengers together, but in a traditional role-playing game sense of, I don't like you, I want to fight you, let's be friends. That, I feel, is the number one thing I saw going for them in this show, where people who were antagonists at 1 episode or 2 episodes wound up being part of the Merry Men, the followers of Robin Hood, and I think they were an underrated part of the show, to which it led to me wanting them to get a bit of a spinoff. I would love a Friar Tuck and Little John spinoff, and I don't mean Lil John. I'm talking about Little John, who is anything but little in this series. So, talked about the Merry Men, talked about Robin Hood in general. They're fun, they're charismatic, and they're more interesting than Robin more often than not. Like I said, they should get their own spinoff, in my estimation. But the main downside of this is so much promise unfulfilled in the end. Disappointed is an easy way for me to say this. The pacing is off, way off. Some episodes are staked in the Game of Thrones soap opera CW narrative that I brought up earlier. And then there's times where the action just goes from 0 to 60 where you didn't even have a chance to catch your breath. Now, some of the performances are great, but a good majority are wooden as hell. And I don't know if that's because it's a period piece or it's meant to be that way. They were meant to portray these roles that way. But a lot of the characters who weren't the main cast, who got maybe an episode here, a couple of scenes there, just felt as if they were just mailing it in. And for me, it was pretty prevalent. I want you guys to tell me in the comments below. Let me know, how do you think the pacing was, the performances, aside from the people I've referenced in this show? Robin Hood on MGM Plus, it's not terrible. It isn't terrible. It's just inconsistent. Beautiful to look at, some phenomenal villainy performances, a few fun twists, but being that the pacing was so uneven and the acting kept it from hitting the bullseye, pardon the pun, giving it a 6 out of 10. It's watchable. I don't think I'm going to rob the rich to watch it again, but hey, if you're doing something in the kitchen and you need some background noise, this show might work for you. But let me know in the comments down below, are you liking the show? Is Robin Hood hitting the mark for everything that you would hope for in Sherwood Forest? This is Damien G for the Culture Collective with Big Gold Belt Media. Like, subscribe, drop your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.